is Christy Bringhurst.
Patrick Eldridge.
Kristen Dringhurst.
And I'm Christina Coyle.
And we are here to present our work to you. So, first off, I started off with a few images to kind of set the tone for the presentation. This is Kelly Clarkson on the cover of Self, and on the left is a picture of her a few days later at Good Morning America. There's a quote by the Self editor after the outrage and shock that came out about this photoshopping. The editor, Lucy Dancing, stated, "Did we alter her appearance? Only to make her look her personal best, but in the sense that Kelly is the picture of confidence, and she truly is, and I think this photo is the truest we've ever put out there on the newsstand." It's hard to believe that anyone's personal best is a fake representation of themselves. In this photo, it's from the Ann Taylor website in August of 2010. On the left is the original picture of this model who's already skinny and kind of the societal norm ideal that the media tries to portray. And on the right is a disfigured Photoshop item that they presented on the website. As you can see, they've slimmed down her thighs, they've slimmed down her hips, and what's most astonishing is the size of her waist. That's something that's completely unrealistic. And then this next photo is something that not a lot of us are aware of, and most of us weren't actually aware of before working with our organization. Women of color are being whitewashed in our society. As you can see here, there's Beyonce before and after, and this actress, Gaby Sidibe, from her movie. They've just been completely whitewashed to the point where they don't really look like themselves anymore, and it's becoming a societal norm to try and anglicize anyone of color because it's considered beautiful. Now, did you know over 80% of women are unhappy with their bodies? 1/3 of women are on a diet at any given time. In 1970, the average age a girl started dieting was 14. By 1990, it was 8. 42% of girls in 1st through 3rd grade state that they want to be thinner. A study found that on average, women have 13 negative body thoughts per day, with one "I hate my body" moment daily. Our service lending group chose to work with Beauty Redefined. It's an organization created by twin sisters Lindsay and Lexi Kite, who are doctoral candidates at the University of Utah. Their message is all about media literacy and self-image. They post all of their research for their study on their website, Beauty Redefined, and their research focuses on teaching women and girls everywhere of the incorrect and unattainable standards that the media sets for all of us. Once we've recognized that, we can reject that message. And at that point, once we've accepted it for ourselves, we're supposed to take back beauty. And by doing that, it means telling our friends, telling our family, stop believing these lies and get everyone around you to kind of jump on the bandwagon with that and to take a stand against the media. Oh, and we chose specifically to work with Beauty Redefined because all of us have had these experiences or know people who have had these experiences. Even if you look down Utah on I-15, there's billboard after billboard after billboard, plastic surgery, with women who were just these ideals of perfection. And in reality, they don't even look like that. The media tries to sell us an unattainable version of reality because they're in the game of making money. Because if we see an image like that, women are going to go and say, "Oh, that foundation will really make my skin look smooth and perfect," or, that slimmer will make me look like that celebrity in that dress. And we buy into it, and we have to learn how to reject that. This is one of the billboards that they've had across Utah, particularly in August. It says you're capable of much more than being looked at. They have other billboards that state there's more to be than eye candy. If beauty hurts, we're doing it wrong, and your reflection doesn't define your worth. I saw these personally in August, and it really makes for a meaningful drive. Your daily commute that's normally interrupted with, tons of billboards that telling you you're not good enough, and you need to change, and you need to edit yourself, and then you see this. And the impact that these billboards have is incredible. And they've just received money from donations to put up a billboard on the Pennsylvania Turnpike in Pennsylvania. So it's a road that thousands of people use daily, and they'll be able to see these positive messages and be impacted from them in their own lives.
So through the semester, working with our service group and our service learning class, we did a lot of different writings, specifically in different types of genres. We did profiles, reviews, and one thing that helped us a lot to focus on our goals of what we could do for Beauty Redefined as an organization was the proposal. We actually broke down two main goals that we wanted to focus on. The first one was we were unaware going into this that Beauty Redefined was not an accredited nonprofit, specifically a 501c3 nonprofit, which is a nonprofit where you can get tax-exempt status, which would be very beneficial for them. They're starting out. What this does is it actually limits their ability to gain fundraising for their goals and for their cause. They can't tie into any kind of corporate fundraising. They can't get government grants. And they can't get certain privatized grants without having been accredited. So that's a very big problem that we noticed and we needed to focus on. Secondly, they had really no structure as a business. They didn't have any facility that they did their business out of. It was just kind of where they could fit it into on their schedules, because they are doctorate students right now at the DU, so they're very busy already. And as well, they didn't have any kind of funding to do any kind of employees, so that's where we came in, being their workers. We freed up a lot of time for them to actually focus on different aspects of their organization.
For me, I'm just going to touch briefly on what it was like to work in a group together. As Christy stated, most of us have known somebody or has suffered ourselves with negative body images, and once we started talking about this, we really became a group dedicated to spreading the message of Beauty Redefined. There were 4 women and Patrick, and Patrick has sisters, so he could identify that way, and it just really touched all of us. One of the challenges that we had as a larger working group was that many of us came with ideas and voices that we wanted to express our opinions, and our goal was just to narrow those voices down to one voice in order to help Beauty Redefined spread the message.
All right, so at this point we had 2 goals and we needed to get into work. So as Patrick touched on, we became the workers. We basically, as Lindsay told us, we were their interns. We did a lot of the internal work that went on in this organization to help them out. The first thing that was done were these mail order sends. On the website of Beauty Redefined, people from everywhere can donate to the cause, in which they can post it what are called post-it notes. And these are what we mailed out to each of the post-it notes. It's a small little post-it that have the different billboard messages on them. This one was, "You are capable of much more than being looked at." And these were sent out, and we personally have stood in line at post offices and putting envelopes together, and also writing these thank you cards, which were sent out to each person that posted or purchased these post-its. The second one is we wanted it to be socially media aware. So what we did is we actually created a blog button that was spread throughout the internet. As an effective cause of this, they were able to have a full-page ad in e-magazine because of the broadcasting that went out. The third thing, which is something that will go into the spring, in which as many of us are going to help incorporate, is we're going to do a photo shoot. The date that we officially set was for February 25th. This photo shoot is to help raise money to make them a nonprofit organization. The fees for a lawyer or to actually do the documentation is around $5,000 is what we found out. And so to help them, we decided to do this photo shoot. Now what the photo shoot consists of is that we're going to broadcast it through Facebook and other social medias. And women come and they pay $5 and they get about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes with a photographer. And they can do family shots, they can do personal portraits, however they want to do it. But what happens is in the end, after all the shots are taken, they release one photo to Beauty Redefined, in which Beauty Redefined is going to turn around with those photos and make an advertisement on YouTube for Beauty Redefined. During the semester, they had an artist who actually wrote a song for them. And so they're going to put this ad with the song so that these women can be out there. And the great part about this is none of them will be photoshopped, which is a photographer's greatest job, is to actually do the Photoshop after. This will bring in a lot of funds. We're going to have a lot of fun with it for those of us who can go. Another way that we chose to help raise money for them is through collecting ink cartridges. When an ink cartridge is empty, you can actually collect them and then turn them in as a recycled product and receive money for it. Chris and also Emily did a lot of job in getting many cartridges to turn in. We haven't quite known what the estimate is for the funds to come back, but they are turned in at this time. But in the end, our greatest outcome is that because we worked by small means and did a lot of mailers and freed up a lot of their free time, there was a nonprofit organization that deals with men and pornography that has talked to them before, but eventually, and as of now, they will be merging and combining, in which our group or our organization will become a nonprofit organization. They will then be a business DBA, or doing business as under this parent company, as Beauty Redefined. Now, this organization that's taking them on is already a nonprofit, and they have money set aside for them as soon as the merger is done. This pornography group deals with men and their self-image and also their relationships, dealing with pornography. They mostly target young men, where our organization targets young women. And as they combine, they'll become a solid organization to help both men and women help battle self-images and also strengthen relationships. During the semester, we kind of hit this struggle button of, okay, we're doing mailers and we're sending out all this stuff, but are we really succeeding? And as we were given the great Christmas gift of knowing that they will become a nonprofit organization, which was our goal, it was a great honor to us. The greatest thing that I learned in this semester is that it doesn't take huge efforts in service learning and in service. It takes an hour standing in a post office, or putting envelopes together, or organizing a small event maybe for an hour or two, that can actually make a huge change. Who knows what these girls can go on and change the lives of others, but it was by the small acts that we all did that we may have a great effect in the future.
Thanks, Christina. For me, working with Beauty Redefined became personal. As a woman, as a mother with daughters, I didn't know it, but I was sending out the wrong message to my daughters that, outward beauty is one of the most important things. And loving yourself is wonderful, but I, had to stand back and think about, am I sending the message that they're important just because of who they are? I have an older daughter who struggles with body images herself, or negative body image, and my younger daughter has friends who have attempted suicide because they didn't feel that they were living up to what society says that they should be. And so I bought my daughters some Post-it notes, and my youngest has been going around East High School and posting them all over, and it's been, for me, a real personal inner journey.
We had one more group member. She is not here today because of illness, and in her presentation she talked about the biggest thing for her is that she also realized that how much the beauty or looking at magazines affected her, but at the same time she watched how all of us who come from a huge different background, and we all are very opinionated and have certain mindsets, how we actually molded into one, and we learned from each other, and we were able to grow and become actually really close friends to the point that it was more than just classmates. We actually became good acquaintances.
Throughout this experience, like Chris said, I've changed my mindset immensely. We all know what it's like for teenage girls. Even guys know that teenage girls suffer with self-esteem problems. And I know that throughout my life, I spent way too much time wasting my thoughts and my energy on trying to achieve this unattainable ideal And through this work with Beauty Redefined, I've educated myself on all of the digital manipulation that goes on and all the problem that society faces because of the misogyny in the media and the sexualization of women and the photoshopping to unrealistic ideals. And through this experience, I've internalized that and started to focus more energy on myself and the kind of person I am instead of what I look like on the outside and how I don't necessarily fit into the typical ideals.
For me, it was just a big personal growth journey. I got to step out of my box and think about women and not so much as what they look like and more of how they feel about themselves and about me as a guy. Also, I learned a lot more about pornography and the effects that it has on our relationships with each other, especially on the way men view women and objectify them. So I'll take that knowledge out of here. And yeah, that's what I got out of this.
So I have a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if anybody else has questions, please feel free to ask.
Please.
You said that there were two founders.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, what were they studying?
They were
Media.
both, yeah, they're studying media literacy, but they were just both in separate classes, and as they describe it, they had like a twin moment when they saw kind of the things that happened in the media, and they were in like a communications class, like two separate ones, and they both had this moment where they were just disgusted with the way the media was handling women.
Did they mention, or did any of you happen to watch the Misrepresentation documentary, or have you heard of it?
They were actually going to do a panel for at the U for the Misrepresentation film being played there, but it got postponed a little bit. But we've heard of it. We haven't actually seen it.
Great if you can actually see it. Can you talk a little bit more about the e-magazine spread? That sounded really interesting.
Well, I'm a blogger myself, and so I have several contacts within Utah and bigger bloggers that I've advertised with and everything, and I just reached out to all of those people that I know, and there's one woman I know who runs a magazine called Sweet Life in the Valley, and she offered a full-page spread in her magazine because it's all about living life to the fullest and being your authentic self, and so she was happy to include her ad in it.
And it's in this month.
Yeah, it's the Christmas issue.
And what's the magazine called?
Sweet Life in the Valley.
Very cool. There's one more question I had. Oh, what's the combined organization? The organization that Beauty Redefined.
I remember the name of it. It was,
You know, it was said just kind of in passing. Christy
Yeah.
had asked a question on how they were doing, and she went, oh, well, you know, we're going to become a nonprofit. And we're like stunned, sitting there with our jaws on the ground, going, okay.
it's something, is it men?
It was started up by one guy, and he was from Weaver State.
Yeah.
That was what his major was on. He focused on that, like that was like his actual major. So when they had been in contact previously about it, but not like really closely, but then just because they had so much free time from us helping them out, they were like, hey, you know, we're basically doing the same thing, and they talked about doing a joint activity where they would focus on the girls at a school, and then the boys would go off and we would do the boys and talk about pornography, and that's kind of how it came to be. And then he was just like, well, you guys can just join up with us, you know, since we already have all this funding, we can just get you guys started up right there. So
I think it's Fiber. I can't remember
Oh,
the name.
the new
She just
drug.
the new drug.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
the new drug.
Drug for what?
Pornography.
There's a drug for pornography?
no, he's
That's the name of
he's
it.
saying that pornography is the new drug.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute, I'm confused. How did that happen? All
Every
right.
time.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes.
Okay, the spring photo shoot, the photos are not going to be photoshopped.
No.
Are they allowing you to wear makeup?
You can wear makeup. Absolutely. We actually are working with people that we know that do hair and makeup professionally. They would like to come for those who would like help before the Photoshop.
And do you know yet where that's going to be?
that's still in the works. For those who want to participate in it, I would like them on Facebook or find a way to, or go on their website and it will be announced. We're still in the works of organizing it, finding a place, getting photographers put together, things like that.
And again, I would just like to emphasize that their message is about rejecting the harmful media standards and comparing yourselves. They still focus on women feeling beautiful.
Right.
They have nothing against makeup or, you know, anything that makes you feel beautiful because you want to. The thing that they take issue with is women who get plastic surgery or go through great lengths because they want to look like that billboard or that celebrity.
And they weren't introduced, but this is Lisa Walls, who is head of service learning at the college.
Introduce myself.
Well, and then that's Gail Jessen,